Here's hoping this time this video does not get blocked worldwide for multiple days because YouTube, if you're here, if you're watching this, welcome. I am your host, attackslug. These are my thoughts on the 2K22 MyGM trailer and deep dive that aired yesterday on the internet. Let's get into it, shall we? Now, as always, I cut out all of the actual people and actual footage from these things because YouTube's gonna YouTube. And we got a trailer first thing in the morning, which had a brief overview narrated by one Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. And really funny, totally ignored one of your GMs in the game, Shane McMahon. So Steph goes, oh, you can be Adam Pearce or Sonya and more. Shane is right there, but Shane just got let go, so they don't want to mention Shane. Even Steph won't mention Shane. Importantly, besides those four, they revealed you can be your own custom GM in the GM mode. That's awesome. And as that custom GM, you can interfere in matches, which is awesome. But can you be a special guest referee? Is that mode in the game? We don't know yet, but I hope so. And like any good GM mode, you begin with the budget. You can see here a bunch of superstars, your overall budget, who's on the roster, the breakdown in terms of who you have, if they are a bruiser, a fighter, a cruiser, etc. The draft order, what round it is, and importantly, the AI will say, hey, you got this guy, what about also having this guy? That could be a good feud. And so we get more of this kind of explaining those bits of business. Now, one new thing here that I think is totally amazing is that you can assign enhancement talent onto your roster, aka the jobbers, aka, as Bobby Heenan would say, the ham and eggers. So you can see here we got Maya T. Kirk, we got Jake Xanadu, Brute Force, Man, Nova, and Chester. And you can also see their contractual terms, 10 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks, but also, like Nick here, he's permanent. So not only can you have, all right, how many weeks on their deal, keep them happy, but also you can sign permanent guys and girls onto the roster. Can they get signed away? Can they have their morale fall enough? Probably, but hopefully because you have them assigned as enhancement talent, they won't get too mad at losing all the time because they're enhancement talent. Know your role and shut your mouth. That would be a definite improvement over SVR 08, where it was like, all right, I keep on losing, I want to win some. Like, seriously, know your place, jobber. If you have 28 popularity, you shouldn't be winning matches. All I'm trying to say. Now, for the roster, you got your star power, your class, your role, popularity, stamina, morale, what matches you specialize in, your promo skills, and if you are currently in, I guess, a rivalry of some kind, and how that pans out for the weeks and the money. So I would hope they took cues from Fire Pro GM mode, Wrestling Empire GM mode, and obviously previous WWE GM modes. Perhaps even that AEW phone game. Like, always look at what everyone else is doing before you actually do a thing. I hope they did that. And then some more gameplay with Steph at ringside, being like, my husband, Triple H. And then your actual show notes. Right after you do your show, you got your quality, your match card, your power bonuses, show bonuses, a multiplier, the fan bonus, advertisement bonus. And I have to hope that it was inspired by the Fire Pro GM mode that actually had to do advertising to make your shows bigger, because that's always a good feature to have. The new fans, last week's fans, your fan retention rate, and then of course total fans and fan change on that. Right here, one of the money shots. People were like, oh man, only 3 matches? That's not enough. You can see here we have 5 matches and 4 spots for promos. So 9 total segments on your shows. And you can see there are costs associated with Hell in a Cell, Extreme Rules, Tables Match, and regular costs you $0 to just run a match. And then some more footage here with the interferences. Also this right here, because it shows John Cena versus The Miz, one-on-one TLC match. And you just do, all right, I'm going to simulate this match and not actually watch it, and then The Miz beats John Cena in TLC. Shenanigans. But right here, you can also see that the promo spots can cost you money as well. $5K for tables, $30K for TLC, and $3K for that call out between the boss and the Nightmare. I want to know if you can do special guest referee, and that referee can be the GM that you're playing as in that deal. So that was kind of the first trailer there on MyGM. narrated by the lovely Stephanie McMahon, and not mentioning Shane McMahon at all is pretty funny. But of course, later on in the day, we got our deep dive, which aired live at like noon Eastern, and then went private for the rest of the day, and we'll find out here in a second why. So I only cut out the actual gameplay parts of this deep dive. Each GM has their own card, and that card gives them their own exclusive power. Between either Adam Pearce, Sonya, Steph, Shane, or the custom, they have 5 different ones to choose from on their power card. For example, Adam Pearce increases all active rivalries by 1. Sonya increases the whole roster's morale. Morale is important so they don't leave your brand for a different brand or a different company. Anyhow, this right here, we got into the draft, right? And you're like, oh, that seems normal. But the original broadcast had some additional scenes of this draft which revealed names that don't work there anymore, most significantly basking in his glory of Keith Lee was on this screen. Also Lana, also Swerve, also Nia Jax, but importantly Keith Lee is on AEW right now, so they kind of, oh nope, pull that, we can't have that. Now, is he in the game? Again, we don't have a full roster, we don't know. I would imagine at this point it's kind of late to pull some of this talent, considering they still list Nakamura as King Nakamura, and it's been a hot second since we had a King Nakamura. So I have to imagine that having a lot of these guys and girls pulled at this juncture, yeah, a little rough. When you are hiring talent, Kevin Owens and Brock Lesnar, there is a class synergy on that. So pair fighters with bruisers for added bonuses in your rivalry. So that's a cool thing to have. Like, more options is always a good thing. And there is the draft complete. There is the starting budgets. You have 8 rounds of drafting. After the 8th round, it's optional, and then you can get free agents and legends and that kind of thing. And yes, it will recommend who you should draft, but look, if you're doing it, you're doing it. The roster, the free agents, the legends. Importantly, you can draft created superstars. You have a whole pool of your cause. So if I wanted to recreate video effing games I did in Fire Pro, I can do that here in 2K. Moving on, booking the show. So who's in the match? What kind of match is it? Is it for a title? Interference? Who interferes? And my understanding is you can actually upload images for your created guide so it looks right in the game. Now, obviously, having a green screen would help with that, but, you know, I'm sure you go on the internet and you do a little stuff with some Photoshop and you'll be fine. Walter is Walter. He's not Gunther. He's Walter. Thank God. So at least that part being outdated helps us as fans, because nobody wants Gunther. We want Walter. Come on. Now, moving on, we have a selection of venues. We have the road crew, special effects, advertisement. So if you've played Fire Pro, you know that, alright, picking the arena is important for how big your crowd you think is going to be. Doing the advertisements, how much is that going to be? Now, can you do merchandise? That was a big thing in Fire Pro, having the appropriate stuff to sell there. Having your overpriced t-shirts at the venues to sell those gimmicks is important. I don't see it here, but hey, maybe. Anytime there are more options, I'm always down for more options, and having a choice of venue to pander to what size of a crowd you hope to bring in with your roster is pretty cool. Beyond that, we have the power card system. And here's where, if you don't want to play a match, but you desperately need to have somebody win a match or a feud or whatever, you can pay 15 grand to fix that match. I'm not sure how in-depth this is going to get, but just on the surface, this looks real neat. They will give you feedback. Triple H will give you commissioner goals, but also you'll have a social media, Twitter type feedback, and also the talent themselves will be like, look, give me a match. I want to be on the show. I want a title. That kind of thing. This is playable, obviously, against AI, also playable with local co-op, and also if you're on PC, there is that thing with the Steam remote play type deal to do it on the internet, but only on Steam. That's kind of a Steam feature. And so that is kept track of here in your journal, where you got an expiring contract, Dawkins is good in TLC matches, and you promised Walter an exclusive title rematch against Rey Mysterio. Also, a very important goal, do not put Nia Jax in a match. Period. Just end of sentence. don't do it. Someone's getting hurt. So that stuff, like all these options that I'm seeing and the ideas are kind of spinning around in my head, and I'm like, okay, they've given you a framework here, right? But what I don't want is too much control. Because you get into things like Wrestling Empire or TEW, like, I don't want to have a zillion options. I want a good framework to react to, and this seems to be in that direction. Like, I don't want to have to play every single match to be able to win on my brand, because that's just a lot of time for me as a content creator to play every single match to make sure it's 5 stars to be able to beat Raw or SmackDown or whatever. And obviously, I don't want just all text for the whole game like a TW, because I want to create a good video, and hopefully that's going to have actual wrestling in the game, in the video. Now, they did say there is this mode here. It is spectator mode. It is Kevin Dunn mode. It is hopefully not having a camera cut every 2 seconds on every move and having the camera be all shaky. Hopefully not. But this is only going to be in MyGM. This stuff, if you had shown me these animations and said, guess what year's game this is, I honestly couldn't tell you. So that perhaps gives some more hope to the Sim fans that want more Sim gameplay, because this kind of looks like the game always has looked, and less like it did in that video last time with that Damian Priest and Rey gameplay. So this looks like a more standard 2K bit of gameplay in a ladder match. But yes, you can choose the camera angles in your thing manually, and I'm not sure if it grades you on that or if it's just kind of an option to have. And again, more options, I'm glad. The post-match report actually gives you paragraphs of text here, and it kind of says, all right, they had limited exposure and small circles of fandom, right? But it was a satisfying performance between the superstars. And it kind of breaks down what happened in the match. Even if you didn't play it, it breaks down what the deal was, so you can hopefully react to that and make it better the next time. And so here on the right, you'll see the show notes. It's kind of Twitter, essentially, in terms of what's going on, who's happy, who's not, what do the fans think of your show, that kind of thing overall. And that, again, give me a structure, give me feedback, but don't make me do literally everything, and I'm happy. So we have our cash, our cost, our network deal payout, the crowd, the price. Now, can I set the prices for tickets? I would hope so. Total fans, the ad rate, the ad revenue, the promo bonus, the gross, the profit loss, and the total budget for this show. It was a D show with a B match card. So I'm hoping that when you put on a good match card, even if your show quality is overall, like, it'll grow, because word of mouth will spread. Ideally, that's how wrestling works. In between shows, you have the option to actually respond to the complaints and concerns from your boss and from your roster here down at the bottom. Triple H says, we've added 50K to your war chest. Make your debut a hit. Make it an amazing show. The game. More of your show logistics here on the truck is Kane and Nia Jax. Oh boy. And that whole thing. So, optional goals. Book 2 special match types, run-ins, or GM interferences. Reward that book superstars with under 2 star power gain 1 in morale, show quality plus 7%. So all kinds of things to kind of get into here, all kinds of options to get into here in this mode, and I'm definitely down with having all of those different things to do. Like, just give me the structure. Let me play in the structure, and that's pretty freaking cool. Now, is it going to be fun is the overall question. Like, that's always the question, that is this mode going to be fun? I played Fire Pro, I played SVR, I've played Wrestling Empire, Booking Empire. Like, is this, with all these options, going to be an overall enjoyable experience? I think they've given us enough that it should be, but I'm never going to hedge bets on yes or no until I actually get my hands on it and play it in pretty soon here. A couple of weeks, we're almost there. It needs to be good. And it looks like they put in the effort here to at least make this mode a fun one to look at and to play. And we'll see how it goes when it launches pretty soon here. So, that is my thoughts. I think overall what they've shown here is, again, promising. Having played a bunch of GM things up until now, this seems like it's giving us enough options to mess around with and have a good time doing so. I just don't want to have to micromanage literally everything. Just don't make me play every match, and I'll be happy. Booking feuds, rivalries, interfering and just kind of in my little playground of my GM experience. That's what I want, and I hope they deliver. I am your host, attackslug. More videos coming real soon when 2K22 launches in about 19, 18 days here, something like that. I'll see you then. I'll see you next time right here for more videos, and I'm out.